I doubt any of you went to it, but somebody might have. The president and the CFO, the vice president for finance, have had 2 budget town halls about Midwestern in the last 2 days. They had one on Wednesday and they had one yesterday. Anybody go? Sorry. They had one yesterday and they had one the day before. And what they put up was MSU's entire budget. $123.9 million. And then they talked about where the money comes from, talk about where it goes, and they basically, they didn't show every single thing, but they categorized it into, we bring in this much from tuition and fees, we bring in this much from state appropriations, we bring in this much from donors, and then we spend this much on salaries and benefits, we spend this much on maintenance and operations, we spend this much on debt, and they basically showed everything there with the budget. That's what finance people do. The accountants are the ones that categorize all that money going in and out and where it belongs, so that finance people can make those decisions. So I want you to write this term down as well. Fiscal. F-I-S-C-A-L. Not physical year. Fiscal. F-I-S-C-A-L. Fiscal year. It's an accounting term or a finance term. It's fiscal. F-I-S-C-A-L. Now, Midwestern has a fiscal year. It's their fiscal means budget year. I mean, did you just assume Midwestern's budget year would be January 1 to December 31? That's the calendar year. Why is their fiscal year not the same? What's the academic calendar? Fall, spring, summer, right? So they need their budget year to follow the same thing. So the Midwestern fiscal year is September 1 to August 31. So everything that happens in that time period goes in the budget year. That's how they account for their money, is September 1, August 31. That makes a whole lot more sense than January 1 to December 31. Because they're planning in an academic year basis. So from a finance standpoint, how much of the tuition and fees that you paid this semester, how much of the revenue stream of Midwestern does that make up? Of the total pie, of all the money they bring in, the part you paid, how much does that account for? No, it's much higher than that.
20%.
It's about 50. Slightly over 50, I think. And then about 25% of it comes from state appropriations, like state funding. And about 25% of it comes from donors. So the part you pay makes up about 50%. You want to hear the depressing thing? About 15 years ago when I was in your chair, meaning you pay $5,000, the state government's going to pay $2,000 to $2,500 of your cost of education this semester. It was the exact opposite. The state paid about $5,000 and the students paid about $2,500. Why has that changed? Did Western get greedy? Not that simple. The state quit funding during the last economic downturn in 2008. The state reduced down how much they were paying for college. And you've picked up the rest of it. And the argument was, is college a public good or is it a private good? And they said it's a mix. And that's what they came out to. So, right or wrong, that's what happens. I'll tell you what I write down here. Nothing. Is finance all about calculations? Think about your personal finance? No. Calculations are the tools that managers use. It's more important than the concepts. Why is our stock price going down? In the game, if your stock price went down this year, it's because what happened? Which meant what? If you lost sales, but what at the end of the year went down? Your income, your profit. And if your profit goes down right now, your share price is going down. And if your profits have gone up, your share price has gone up. Should our company take on this project? Do we have the funding to take it on? How do we plan for our financial future? Those are the things that finance people are talking. This is going to be my last slide of the day. Spend some time camped out here. I think these are some of the most important fundamentals. The next slide is probably going to be in the quiz. 5 foundational principles of finance. Cash flow matters. Cash flow actually probably matters more than profit loss. Money has a time value. Risk requires a reward. Market prices are generally right. Again, there has been no economic system in the history of the world that has been as successful as capitalism. What is the basis of capitalism? That buyers and sellers, if left alone by government, will figure out the proper value, market price. The market prices are generally correct. Does government have to monitor it? Yes, 100%. Does government have to make sure that incentives don't get out of whack? Yes. Market price is generally correct. Conflicts of interest can cause agency problems. So now let's walk through this. Midwestern. I just told you is this is for simple math, $120 million operation. That means they have $120 million going in, $120 million going out. If you're paying 50% of that, how much are you paying? $60 million. When do you pay that $60 million? In like a 4-week time period in August, September, 4-week time period in January, December, January, and then a little bit over the summer. So let's just call it $25 million that was paid in right before the start of school. Tuition and fees. Literally, what did they do with that $25 million when they got it in that short window? Literally, what do they do with it? Stack it up in $100 bill increments over in the vault? No. Put it in the bank? Yeah. But what does that mean? They just go open up a checking account down here at XYZ Bank and put it in there in one account? No. They put it in a lot of different places, but they invest some of it in what they call like a very low risk, high yield savings account. Maybe it's paying 2-3% interest. And so you get $30 million coming in there, and when they make their September payroll, they've only paid out, I'm using simple math, $2 million. Now what do they have left over? 28? Then they make another payment in October, $2 million. You get that, you get the idea. But they actually take that money and use it to earn additional money. Remember I said that other 25% came from donor funds? Well, part of that is also investment income. And so that's what financial people are doing, is figuring out what to do with that money that's just sitting there. Put it to work. Make it earn more money. If you want to be wealthy and pass down money, you're going to do the same thing by investing your own dollars into investments that someday, hopefully when you get to a certain age, your money in the bank is actually earning more money in interest than you are with your brain and your hands. That's when you've reached financial independence. But cash flow is what matters. It's easy in a place like Midwestern where there's literally 4 or 5 people that their entire job is to make sure that all that $25 million that comes in now, comes in later, and then they got money coming in from the state, that it's managed so when we get to the 10th month of the year, we don't run out of money. That's literally their entire job. So it makes sense that it's not a problem for Midwestern to run out of money. You own your own business with 5 employees, and you have seasonal times where your income comes in, it gets much, much harder to be disciplined to make your cash flow work. It's very easy when you need to take on debt or when your kids are having problems and you own your own business and you need to take the higher profits from that month and put it into something different. It's much harder in a small business than it is in a massive organization that has people dedicated to that. That's why cash flow is so important. My brother's company builds long stretches of highway. Their job might last 3 years, and they're only going to get 4 payments. And if it rains for 4 weeks and the project gets behind, they still have to meet payroll. How do you manage that cash flow? That's why I say sometimes cash flow is even more important than profit loss. If you don't have money to pay your people, and you don't have money to buy the equipment, money to buy the materials, all of a sudden you're out of business. And so that's cash flow. We'll talk about the rest of them on Monday and pick this back up here.